chicken pot pie. It's one of those classic comfort foods that just always hits the spot. But let me tell you, I have the easiest version and quite possibly the most tasty too. What is up, you guys? It is Carly here, and you are officially cooking with Carly. We're doing chicken pot pie today. Let's dive right in. Let's talk about our ingredients. I've made this chicken pot pie the easiest chicken pot pie, but it's still homemade. Let's do it. So we've got the makings of a creamy sauce that goes inside of our chicken pot pie to hold all of those yummy ingredients together. So we have butter, flour, chicken broth, milk, onion, and some seasonings. Now, what goes inside of the chicken pot pie, the bulk of the pie? We have chicken, frozen peas and carrots, and they even come together. The carrots are diced. I know, can't get any easier than that. Southern style hash browns, which are potatoes that are peeled and cut for you. Yeah, I know, easy. And then I just have store-bought pie crust here. You can definitely make your own pie crust if you want, but like I said, I'm going for easy here. Let's talk about the chicken really quickly. I made this in my Instant Pot from frozen to cooked and shredded in 20 minutes flat. If you have an Instant Pot and want to do the same thing, make sure to check out this video. I give you all the details there, and I'll also put a link to the recipe in the description. To start our chicken pot pie, let's head over to the stovetop and we are going to create a roux and then put together our creamy sauce. Let's fire up our stovetop here and we are going to go for a medium-high heat. Like I said, let's make a basic roux. So a roux is equal parts butter and flour. Let's melt our butter over the medium-high heat until it is completely melted and bubbling quite a bit. Like I said, equal parts butter, flour. So this recipe, it's 3 tablespoons of each. And once that flour goes in, we're going to let it boil and bubble and cook for a good 30 seconds to a minute to get out that floury taste before we add in any of our liquid. Our roux has been cooking for about 30 seconds now, so it's time to add in our liquid. I have 1/2 cup of chicken broth, and then 1 cup of milk will go in following that. Now allow this to come back to a simmer and let it boil and simmer until it is thickened. You want it to coat your whisk nicely before it's done. So continue to whisk so nothing burns as it thickens. It should thicken within a couple of minutes here. As we're whisking and waiting for it to thicken, I'm going to add in salt and pepper to season our creamy base. It's getting thicker now. It's starting to coat our whisk here. I'm going to turn off the heat and set it aside for a second. Now let's put all of our ingredients that will go on the inside into a bowl so we can mix it all together before it goes into the pie crust. 2.5 cups of cooked chicken. Like I said, I cooked mine in the Instant Pot, but feel free to use a rotisserie chicken to make it even easier on yourself. We have 1/4 cup of diced onion. And we will use 1.5 cups of each peas and carrots and of the hash browns. Let me grab a spoon or a spatula and mix this all together. Now it is time to add that creamy sauce. I'm gonna go head over and grab it and we'll pour it in and mix it all together. Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Let's grab our pie plate and get our crust into the pie plate. Now when you're working with store-bought pie crust, it's imperative that you pull it out of the fridge a little bit before you want to use it so that it's not crumbly and dry and hard to work with. If you let it sit out of the fridge for a good 15 minutes, it will be really easy to work with. Just press this nicely down into the bottom of your pie plate and fold those edges over the lip here. It's time for the filling to go in. Just spread your filling around evenly until it's nicely distributed, and then let's put this top crust on. Once we put our top crust on, we're going to pinch around the corner of the crust so that nothing bubbles out. To pinch, you're going to use your thumb and pointer finger on one hand and your thumb on the other hand and pinch together, going around the entire pie. Now that we've finished the edge of the pie, let's score the middle of the pie so there is room for all of the steam to escape while this is baking. If you want your crust to have that nice glossy look like it would have if it came from a bakery, you can either brush it with an egg white, or if you have some heavy cream on hand, that will do the trick as well. That's what I'm using today. This is ready to pop in the oven. I always bake this on a cookie sheet. Just in case things boil and bubble, it will land on the cookie sheet, not on the bottom of your oven. We're going to cook this in a 350-degree oven for 1 hour, but keep an eye on it because that crust tends to get a little crispy and done before everything else does. So at about the 30-minute mark, I like to go in and put some tin foil around the crust so it doesn't get burnt. Let's put this in the oven and we'll see you in an hour. Can you put tin foil around the edge so it doesn't burn in 30 minutes?
Serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. Why are you looking at me like I'm crazy? I got to go to the dentist. The chicken pot pie is done and my kitchen is smelling heavenly. Let's go get the chicken pot pie. I feel like I need a dun 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 dun. Here it is, our chicken pot pie. Oh, I'm so excited to eat this. The chicken pot pie is done. Let it sit and cool for about 5 minutes before you start cutting into it, and it can be served as is, or I like to serve it with a little bit of gravy. You can make your gravy from chicken drippings. You can do it by thickening up some seasoned chicken broth, or you can go the easy route and use a packet of chicken gravy. Chicken pot pie no longer has to intimidate you. This is the easiest with the least amount of prep, and it tastes absolutely delicious. Make sure to put this on your menu for your family next week.